Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a bronze Junkrat. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. Or if you are looking at coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all that good stuff. Okay. So I actually did like your first drop a little bit better here. So let's go back.
Ready for battle.
That's better because it's more likely to catch someone sort of rounding the corner here. Someone rounding the corner is not going to like hard turn the corner. They're not going to be like, ah, yes, let me hard turn and do that. And it will reach and grab them if they walk through here. Like someone is going to go like this. You don't want them to see it with their screen. So your first trap was better than your second trap here.
Looks like that apple
Hey, Little Link. I'm doing all right. What about yourself?
3, 2, 1.
Oh, you're hoping that they'll chase you across your trap. Okay.
Stop the payload.
Eh. I don't necessarily love that mine. Like, obviously you're trying to launch them up to hope someone else will hit them. Is there someone on your team? The Ashe could, in theory, hit them, but it's not going to combine for enough damage unless your Ashe hits them. So, usually you would want, if you're going to trigger that mine, something else that can do damage. And you can combine the mine damage with your nade damage. You can combine the mine damage with your trap damage, but there was plenty of time to go do trap plus mine here if that's what you wanted to do. But if you're going to spend a mine on this, I'd like you to add something else to it too. And you'd probably be pretty safe adding nade damage to this, like just lobbing nades from here, and then maybe they'll chase you and come across your second trap when you end up laying it here. Or I guess it would be your first trap if we were talking about doing this with the mine like you did and throwing some nades out there. But you're not going to really be worried about someone pre-holding their crosshair on where you are. Like, you're going to peek last instant. You're going to be here. You're going to peek last instant and throw your nades, and that's fine. And you're not worried about someone really holding that because that's just not the angle that they're going to pre-hold. Now, they might come out here and immediately be pre-holding an angle over here with the crosshair, but you'd be pretty safe to do that. You'd tax them a little more on the way out, and you'd actually have a chance of that mine combining with some nade damage to get an elimination, which is what we actually want. Happy to hear it, Little One. Okay, some ricochet. So you think they're going to follow you now, but like, this is okay. This is okay, don't get me wrong, to go, hey, I'm going to ricochet bounce, hopefully I'm hitting stuff. But again, we can make this, okay, mouse, you're going to fight me. I just need to replace that mouse. That's life. That's my computer, not yours, guys, making that noise. Okay, cool. So, it's okay to be bouncing these nades, but really, you can go, hey, do I want to go check out this next thing? Do I want to go over here? This time you'd have run into a Hanzo if you did that, but that's another reason that we didn't want to run the trap. And if you run into a Hanzo, close range Hanzo is scary, but you're just as scared of him, and you'd much rather run into him at close range than have him challenge you at long range. So if you'd gone out and been like, hey, whoops, ended up dealing with Hanzo, if this Hanzo hadn't been here, you get to more directly aim your nades. That's good, and that is going to be better than what is kind of blind feedback at this point that you're walking off of. Or they can just ignore his random spam and just take the 6v5, which is the problem, which is why we need to get him more directly involved in the fight. And hey, plot. Yeah, so that wasn't good. And again, you didn't really have enough information. Like, that was a long time to just be bouncing, ricocheting a spam. Okay. You don't want this at all. Your team is wiped and you know it. Like, why are you dropping in here? you can see that the only one on your team ahead of you is Lucio. There's no reason to enter here. Even honestly, throwing nades from here didn't make a ton of sense because you're much more likely to get eliminated by a precise hero like Hanzo standing there than you are to just happen to get a nade elimination right now. Like, the only one in the fight still or in front of you is Lucio. We don't want to go back in. We want to wait until our team is back in and go in with them. No, you are walking into a 2v6. Now it's a 1v6. Now it's back to a 2v6. You don't even want to be here. You want to be back on second until you have a team that can actually push. No.
Stop me if you've heard this one.
It's not amazing. It makes it harder to hit. So there's an art to Junkrat. You can use a mine on him if you really want, but the reason we don't tend to use mines first as openers on Junkrat is when you hit him with the mine, he's going to get sent pretty darn far away. So if you hit him with the mine, like you're about to do, he's going to go flying far away. And then he's going to be much harder to hit with a nade. So that's why it tends to be, let's connect with a nade, and then after we've connected the nade, let's throw the mine here. And you might be like, oh, but I'm scared. It's been too long and I haven't hit a nade yet, so I gotta use my mine. But you really don't. Like, he's not really doing a good job of aiming at you. You've still got 200 health. He's not going to one-shot you. He's not healing his team right now. Your timing still sucks because your team is, just about thinking about becoming a credible threat, but isn't one yet. But, like, at least you're turning him so he's not contributing to his team, or at least that would be the case if your team was ready to take the fight yet, which, again, you need to understand when that is before you go in. So we look at this, we'd have liked to hit a nade before we throw the mine. And that doesn't mean, oh, just aim better. That actually just means, hey, you need to keep throwing nades. Like, you need to keep throwing nades. You can walk into him and hit him with a nade at point blank range. Like, it's fine. Even if you take some damage, it's fine. And then you finish him with a mine there. You know it's bad when even the Rhine doesn't advance? True. So now how are you going to hit him with a nade? Like, he's way over there. And his weapon is way better than yours for this fight at this range. Plus, you sent him to his friends. No, Bamba got you there. Okay. And you see how this happens? Like, this happened, and then, boom. Wouldn't it be so nice to be in this fight on that angle you were on right now when your Rhine just put the shadow down? Wouldn't that be amazing? So we entered the fight too early. And this is just more example of that. Like, it's not like, oh, in hindsight, he shattered now, so we should have still been alive. Like, no, the real thing is we knew we were in too early because our team wasn't in a position where they could push in, where they could take the fight within a second yet of us going in. And this is just further illustrating that. This is an illustration of the concept that you need to already understand. Like, I couldn't have told you that an Earth Shadow was what was going to happen later, but I could have told you a better team fight was going to happen later that you'd have wanted to be a part of. Too shallow. Okay. Back. It's just you and Kree. Yeah, it's not just about getting maximum damage done, putting out the maximum number of nades. It's about threatening the enemy when your team is also threatening the enemy. It's not just about maximum nades. So it's 3v6. I do not expect the three of you to beat the Bastion bunker, even with Mercy Valkyrie. Okay, now you have a team, and now you have a chance. You see how that worked?
Here we go.
Like, we could have deleted everything before this, and it would have been totally fine. And we could have another mine right now if we deleted everything before this. And now, we're dropping in and fighting while our whole team is relevant to this fight. These four can shoot, our Mercy is in the fight, and we're going boom, and we're going to get the Bastion. We're going to really wreak havoc in here. And the reason that that's going to work rather than us just instantly getting deleted is because these guys need to be paying some level of attention to your team. Now, you still might get traded out because this is a very aggressive engage, but I'm good with this. And now you tuck left, and you're immediately going to tire. No, you're not going to tire. Okay. Fine with me. Now you're going to tire, right?
That's a good
No?
spot.
Okay. Forward. Forward. Use the beat. Play wildly aggressive. Like, yes, there's a bastion, but you can take it if you hadn't just waited in mind. No, we don't want to break the barrier. We want to walk through and around the barrier. Okay? Don't drop. Don't drop. You're good. You have a downward arc to your weapon. You can send it from here. If you start to take damage, you can tuck left to close the angle. This is what we want. We do not want to drop here. We don't need to go into this at all. Yeah, I was surprised too, Bluff. Our Q sense has betrayed both of us there. Don't you dare! No! No! You've won this fight. These guys are in a full retreat. You've already won this fight. That Rhine shield is already weak, and you can shred it with your regular left clicks and mines. Like, you can shred this team, no problem, and they got caught in your grab. We do not want to invest another ult in this because we've already won this fight. I was totally fine when it was a 6v5 and you were up 1 with you going, yeah, I'm going to tire and just finish this fight off and then we'll go collect some stagger eliminations. Fine with me. You're up 1, you ult into it, I can live with that. This, no. Even if it's like, oh, but we're still only up 1. There's like 4 of us and 3 of them. This fight is over. This Reinhardt shield is exhausted. These guys are caught in this grab. She's already used res. Like, this fight is over. This is going to be an easy finish for you guys. Actually, there's 5 of you here, so 5v3. So, like, this is going to be an easy finish for you guys, and you should just take it. There's no reason to invest what's a good ult into this fight that you've won. And again, this isn't just a numbers count that's part of it. It's also a what's going on. Well, if there's 5 of us and 3 of them, we're winning. If there's 5 of us and 3 of them, and we have an ult going and getting value right now, our grab, we're winning even more. If there's 5 of us and 3 of them, and we have an ult going right now, and, hey, their shield looks weaker than our shield, that's just a representation of one resource, you know, one set of resources. Hey, we're probably winning this fight. And I don't specifically need you to think of shield here, but what cooldowns do they have left? How much health do they have left? This is all resource that both teams have. And your team has a lot more resource right now. So you have more resource, you have more people, which tends to lead to more resource, and you have an ult actively going right now and they don't. We don't need to drop another ult into this. That's a big investment. This would have been an easy regular finish for you. Yeah.
Double.
And then we don't even get it. Oof. Oof. She's up there. Okay. You want to block this out? Fine. Wait, no trap? You just gonna hard nade, no trap? Okay. Like, it would have been pretty easy to drop a trap right here-ish. To drop a trap right here-ish. I do worry a little bit about that gun. Don't get closer to that. Good. I'd have liked that to be tighter, but good. You did not need to reload there. That reload let them have space. Fine. No, we don't need to go up this way. Yeah, go up this way. You can go up this way and you can be like, hey, I can use this as cover if I have to. I can send nades through there. My team is pressuring them from this direction already, which does things like cause them to deploy their barrier in this direction, which makes me threatening from this direction even better, even if I'm doing it with ricochets. Better. No. We do not start with our mine. Like, Her being on fire tells you that maybe you can get her with just a mine, but you want to try left click here. Like you do. Because if you use your mine on her, she's going to get knocked away and be harder to hit. She's going to be somewhat contained by this, but she's probably going to be knocked up into the air still. And even if she's contained by this corner bouncing around on this, your nades are still going to go fall pitifully because they're nades and bounce around on the ground. And that's not going to be great for hitting a follow-up hit on her. Like there is a reason that you try to connect with a nade before you do that. Push. You have a Dragon Strike going. Oh, it's their Dragon Strike. My bad. My bad. Did your trap get destroyed, or did you just give it up?
Oh, that's a good
Trigger.
one.
Okay. Good re-replace. You double cut them with traps. You're okay. You could tire into this, but you're okay. Yeah, now you should consider tiring into this again. Yeah, they've out. Cancel this push with tire. No problem. Like, you can just tuck back here. Oh. Tuck back here. Your team is doing what they can. You tuck back here. You send your tire through. You rolled up here. Mercy's not going to destroy it in time. And you take an explosion on this, on Mercy, whatever. And you go, nope, we're doing that. Like, try to get 2 people or try to get Mercy. But this is a perfectly valid engage. And again, if we think of this from like a, well, how many people do they have? Well, how many people do we have? Well, we're missing 2, and we don't like that we're missing 2, and they have an ult going, but this isn't a hard lost fight. Like, we look at them and go, okay, there's 6 of you, there's this. We could go, hey, if I survive for another like 2 to 3 seconds and no one on my team gets eliminated, I'll tire, because then my teammates will be almost back. But we could also just go back here and try to tire right now, because these guys want to push your team, and how much they want to push your team is the distraction that your tire's going to need to get work done. Yeah, Junkrat's comp was very effective against Bushy, so you should learn it. I mean, it's bronze. We gotta teach him one thing at a time. High ground, cool. I don't know about that trap. Like, we look at this trap, and I don't know why you expect this to catch anyone. And we do see that Ashe. We just heard a bullet whiz by our head there. We don't really like that, so we tuck. We just close the angle. Like, oh, there's an Ashe shooting at us. Cool, let's go over here. Like, that's cool. We can still impact the fight while we can't see it. If we have to, we can bounce some nades off that, send some nades over this. Just for a second or two, and she'll stop paying attention to us. It's fine.
Back for more. You'll love this one.
This is not your time.
Trying to use Sigma's shield. Fine. Don't stay here. Take your space. Go for it. Use the high ground. There you go. No, you don't need to challenge her. You don't need to challenge her. Good. Tuck left. And now look right. Is there anyone to the right that still needs to be clear? No, it's not blind aiming at her. Like, you're just not going to be successful. Go top right. Go top right. Go top right. Go over here. You can defend this from her much more effectively. You can rain, you know, she's going to be threatening this way. She's going to be threatening this way, whatever. And you can go, oh, team, you're advancing? Cool. Let me step over here and let me throw nades into the back of you as you're advancing, into the side of you as you're advancing. And if she's here, oh, she'd have to come out all the way out here to challenge you. If she comes out all the way out here to challenge you, she's going to be very exposed to your team. That's what we want to do. Junkrat is really good at holding small enclosed spaces. Like, that's where his mines do the most work. You kind of want those. Like, you can do this. I don't mind this. Off angles are very powerful in Overwatch. They're very, very good. And enclosed spaces are good for Junkrat. So if you go, oh, I'm Junkrat, what am I supposed to do? Well, enclosed off angles that like take away flank routes from other people and give you access to the shooting the opponent in the side and the back, those are great. And if someone comes through that's like a Tracer, a Genji, whatever, they're going to be unhappy fighting you in here. If Hanzo tries to climb up here and fight in here, well, you'd much rather fight Hanzo in here than you would, hey, Hanzo, let's have a ranged fight like this. So, like, these are the types of places you want to play as Junkrat. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Heroes never die.
Like, you don't want to play out in front with your tanks like this. If you were playing behind a tank shield, you could live with it, but it's not as good as playing from somewhere like here, where you'd just be like, I'm raining nades down on you. Here, it's too direct. They can just shoot you. Hanzo, Ashe, Fire Strike, BAP shots. None of that feels good, and it's gonna, even when it's not aimed at you, like it's like, oh, we're trying to shoot Lucio and we hit you. We're trying to hit Zarya and our aim's bad, so we hit you. Damage that isn't even meant for you can eliminate you. We don't want that. We want to have this nice angle where if they hit us, they were aiming for us specifically. And it's hard to find a way to aim at us specifically. You're like, oh, we can't really do that from here. We have to go take our own off angles. And oh, but we got caught in a trap on the off angle because you predicted that, and then you blew up your mind and eliminate us. Okay, maybe not that last part, but heck. So, like, that's sort of right. This is the sort of place Junkrat likes to fight in. It's a nice enclosed space. It's a little bit of an off angle, and it's what I told you to do before. Unfortunately, you got punished this time. And part of why you got punished this time is your team was back here, and you went, let me advance. And you were a fair bit ahead of your team initially. By the time you get eliminated in here, your team's caught up a little bit. But you kind of went in ahead of your team. You got Fire Strikes down to half health. You were super obvious about going into here. And this wasn't as safe as, say, playing from up here.
30 seconds remaining.
Helden sterben nicht.
我が敵を食らう
You'll love this one.
Who's got that?
10 seconds.
Again, we do not want this 2v6. We just leave. We just accept that the card is going to push further, and we leave. Because then we might be able to return, if we leave, in time to stop this from capping second. And we might be able to fight them with 4 or 5 people. Now we're eliminated and we're in spawn when this is capping second. So maybe our team would have been able to fight with 4 or 5 people if we'd waited, but we just got eliminated walking into a 2v6. We have to be aware of that.
Oh, just leave this here. What's your stand?
What? Okay, you went down, fine. You don't need to run. You don't need to run. You can use the beat to push for a bit. Now you play this angle. You could have played a little more aggressive for a couple seconds with the beat there, but now playing from here is good. Okay, fine. Yeah, I can work with that.
I'm building panic, you know.
You're predicting the Mercy. So you didn't actually want to use that mine yet.
Building panic, you know.
And the reason you didn't want to use the mine yet, I totally get it. You're trying to deny the Mercy. We don't want to use the mine until we see her commit to the res. Because we need to knock her away. Like, we need to knock her away when she starts the res. And you might be going, oh, but I don't need to block the res anymore because McCree at the shot. And that's true, but you didn't know that when you pressed this mine button. So you actually want to see her start the res before you commit this mine, because you need to knock her away to cancel the res. If you throw the mine and knock her away, and then you don't have a mine, and then she starts the res, there's very little you can do except eliminate her with damage. Whereas if you knock her away after she started the res goes on cooldown, she doesn't get the res, and it's over. You've done what you needed to. You've actually permatized that BAP elimination. But maybe you were doing that more to protect yourself. In that case, you were out there too early. But hey. Okay. Taco Princess? What a name. Taco Princess, I suppose, but Taco Princess was more fun. Your bubble's over. Like, you went diving, aggressive, hyper, wild rat here. You haven't actually gotten enough eliminations to earn this, but hey, maybe there's communication that you're going to get this Zarya bubble. Maybe that's fine. If you got communication you were going to get this Zarya bubble, I have no problem. You don't have a mine to use in here until you get it back, which is a little annoying, and now we need to mine out. Like, we did what we wanted to. We came in here, we got our Zarya some charge. We would have liked to hit more shots while we were in here, but our bubble's going to end now, and it's time to get out. It's not time to be in deep when the bubble ends. Now it's tough for us to get out, and this mine is going to send us totally the wrong way. Now we're even deeper in, and we don't have a bubble, and the enemies spawn from this direction, and if your read on their spawn timing is it all off, you have a bunch of people shooting you in the back. We don't like this at all. Right.
Back for more.
I'm on fire.
Fire at will.
Okay.
Round 1.
The diamond-encrusted mine must cost thousands every time he uses it, but think about how powerful the shrapnel is.
Barrier in place.
Ready for battle. Ready for battle.
Genji, this is just like old times.
I'll pass the cross for now. As to
Ready for battle.
He just walked out of a room full of gold coins. Yeah, he's you know, they got the treasure, remember? That's what the plan says.
4,
So
3,
clearly he can afford it.
2, 1. Attackers incoming. Escort the payload.
Yep. Secret treasure room to the left, not so secret. No. I know it's annoying, you're not hitting shots, I know, like, hey, that's annoying. But you had high ground, they were in a place that you could work on them, you could send your nades. I know it's not perfect, it's a pretty open space, it's hard to hit your nades. The solution is not to drop down main and walk at them in front of your team. Maybe if you were like, hey, I'm pushing from over here, hey, I'm pushing from over here, but not like I'm just walking straight at the opposing team and I hope they don't hit shots directly in front of my team from the direction that my team was coming from, so the enemies are already looking in this direction. That's not what we're doing. That trap's not going to be amazing for you. Like, they're not going to come through this way. I was thinking you were going left there for some flank action. Guess not. Press X. Press X. Say I need healing.
Back for more.
Maybe.
Oh, that's a good spot.
Still not a good spot.
I'm feeling advantage, you know.
Could go over here, could get control of this, could be like, hey, I'm going to threaten you from a different angle. Then if you win, if you've driven them out, you set your mine, not your mine, you set your trap like right here-ish. And then they come through and it catches them, and even if they come through, it catches them. It probably won't catch them if they come right on this corner, but they won't because this is more the direction of their spawn. So you set it, you know, like halfway in, halfway like that, and it's great because it's partially protected, harder to see. We'll catch people over to about here-ish. Great. Unless they're hard hugging this left side here, from your perspective, it's going to get them. Your team's going to wipe them out. You're going to retreat to being controlling from this angle here while your team is pushing from here. It's going to be fantastic.
Oh, this will be
Good. We took the angle. We hear the Zarya. Fine. I can live with that. We can just deny them from advancing. That's fine. Nothing there. We see the Bastion. We have to deal with that. One more. Mine. Good.
This one.
You immediately look for another thing to mine. You immediately look for this tire. Like, look up. Look up. Look up. You see it. You're looking for the first opportunity to reasonably mine it. No, I don't know why you looked down. You looked down. Like, I get it. You were like, hey, I'm looking up, and that was good. And then you started to look that way, but you looked down this way too quickly. Like, no. You had a chance here. I don't mind if you don't get it. I don't mind if the tire gets you, but, like, I don't mind if your aim isn't good enough, but you look down harder than you should have there.
Heroes never die.
That melody!
They'll walk past the payload, around the stairs, past Hog, then through the door with no reason to be there and step on the trap. I think this point is maybe one of Junkrat's worst in the game, which is a bit of a shame for his home map.
This one's for you.
He's scoping outwards from Gilad. Rough. Fine. Go left. Go left. Go left. What direction do I want you to go on offense? Same direction I want you to go on defense. I want you to go, hey, this is a nice, somewhat enclosed area that you can play from, and it's flank control, which denies the opponent flanks, potentially gives you another direction to hit them from, gives you stairs that you can defend. Like, who wants to try to walk up stairs into a Junkrat? No, thank you. So, like, this is a good place. How do you get up here? Well, it's pretty easy. You hop across while the other team is retreating and mine yourself up here. No problem.
Stop me. I've heard this one before.
Ich kümmere mich um dich.
1 second. Yeah, okay, good.
Activating the barrier.
Up the tempo.
It's not an amazing trap. Again, an amazing trap could be like up over here. Maybe you set a trap over here. Maybe you set a trap right here to try to catch someone coming upstairs. Traps going upstairs aren't really great because they sort of see them on the way up. Those aren't amazing, so we'd prefer one over here. But my point is some sort of warning, alarm system, whatever, on this flank that is likely. A better trap could even be over here, warning system on the flank. Trap over here, you're not going to get there, but like this is a place we wanted to go anyway. Uh-oh. Okay. Yeah, cool, I like it. Hero played yourself up there, canceled his ult, and got out alive. Don't play too wild, you're winning this fight. Fine. Next mine should take high ground. Okay. He's good on point C though, Junkrat. Okay. Remember that who wants to walk upstairs into Junkrat thing?
For a price.
Holy.
Okay, so we're probably gonna have to reset to get a good clean push here. Probably. Oh no, we're good. You can spam the right. You know there's someone to the right. Denying that with Junkrat spam would have been fine. Okay. And this is an easy win. You have Tire, you only need one more team fight win. No problem. Take right, take right. You did not need to mine up here, but okay. Sure. Pressure them to deny the advance. Go over there. I'd just like to point out that's another tire from him. You canceled his last tire, and you've been sitting on this one for ages.
Payload is approaching its destination.
Back for more.
Oh, let's break it! Damn!
I'm still not sure why we wouldn't have just ulted. Like, we were up 3, yeah, but, like, the game's over if you eliminate them here. Like, I don't know how to make this more obvious. If you tire point, you win. Like, it's that simple. Like, you threaten to tire the point, and you win. They have to go to point. They have to go to point. They can't give up any distance. They can't give up any distance by being off the point for any amount of time. If you're standing here and you're just grinding this wall with your tire near the point, and they don't have someone standing right here to shoot at it, they lose. Much more quickly than they're losing here. Okay, so congrats on the win. Things that we need to work on for your Junkrat are going to be in this order. You need to have your combo. Your combo has to be a thing. You did it a couple times, but like you want to hit your left click before your nade in most situations. Excuse me, before your mine. So it's nade, then mine. Hit a nade, then a mine. If you have to instead use 2 nades, so be it. If you have to use 3 nades, so be it. But basically, when you're fighting someone at relatively close range, out of range that you could mine them in, unless you're mining to get yourself out because the duel is going poorly, you go, hey, I'm hitting you with a nade, and then I'm mining. If I miss a nade, I just put more nades into it, because that's going to allow it so that the mine actually eliminates them. If you hit them with the mine, they go flying, and it's really hard to hit them with a nade at that point. So let's go with the idea of, hey, we want to try to hit our nade. We're going to hit our nade before we use our mine. The exception to that is, hey, I know that they've taken a bunch of other damage, so my mine, which is more reliable damage, will finish them right here because I know they've taken enough damage from another source. Or, shoot, I'm in trouble, I need to get out, and the mine is going to hurt them and send me away a bit, which I need to do because they're scary. You know, someone like Reaper is scary at close range, something like that, or is going to knock you up to high ground and let you run, things like that. That can be fine, but that's sort of an abort button. You were not using it as an abort button. You were using it as like, well, I missed a couple nades, so now I'm going to throw a mine because I want to do damage to you. It's not about doing damage. It's about getting the elimination when you're stuck or when you're choosing to take those 1v1s. It can be about damage at other times as Junkrat. It can be about I want to put maximum pressure on them to slow their advance when you're poking at them, when they're trying to rotate in, when they're trying to push the cart, but not when you're fighting someone in like a 1v1 type scenario. So go ahead and go, hey, the combo. It's not all 100% always the combo. Again, you can use a mine as an emergency escape hatch. You can use a mine to finish someone that you saw was hit with other damage, fire strikes, TNT, Genji dashes, things like that, and be like, they're probably weak enough. And sure, that's fine. But you have to have that input. Second thing is you want to control flanks and off angles as Junkrat. And you want to do this in closed spaces. You do okay from them, but it's also really important to deny them, and they're areas that you're powerful. If you can control closed space flanks, like the one that's currently over on our left right now, we talked about that a few times, that's good. That's a place that you function from well. It's not the end of my world if you do some high ground, rain from above stuff with nades. It's not the end of my world if you do some, I'm like shield breaking, putting pressure from behind my Rhine or Orisa shield, or I'm there with my trap to like protect against the dive type thing and peel, and you know, I'm reinforcing our bunker. That's fine, but a lot of the time you're going to want to find closed spaces to play, closed space flanks. So flanks that are like tight, smaller areas where your nades are going to bounce around nicely and have multiple chances to hit them, and there's not long, unbroken sight lines that opponents like Ashe or Soldier can use in them. Those are what you like, and you want to control those because they'll give you off angles. They'll stop people like Tracer, like Genji from coming through them. They'll stop people like Ashe, Widow, Hanzo from sneaking through them and then tearing your team apart from the side, from behind. Like, those are something that you're good at controlling and want to do. And then the third thing that you want to work on is we've got to get engagement timing down, but specifically, we can think about this both from a when do we take fights. We don't want to walk into fights that are 2v6s. We don't want to come back from respawn and take a 2v6 fight. That's not what we want to do. Like, that's not a good thing at all. We want to go, hey, if I'm re-entering this fight, do we have a chance of winning this fight? Now, if it's like, oh, they're about to cap third and that ends the round, sure, just walk right in. You have to. I get that. But otherwise, when you're on defense or on offense, don't join fights that your team is massively behind in, because what happens is you get eliminated later, and then it takes you longer to get back into the fight. Every time you're eliminated, you spend 10 seconds in spawn, and then you have to walk back to the fight. I would much rather you not walk all the way back to the fight and wait an additional 4 or 5 seconds, and then join with 4 or 5 of your teammates, unless you're joining fight. Like, if it's a 2v2 and you join it and you turn it into a 3v2, that's fine, but like, you're not going to join a 2v6, a 2v5 type scenario where you can clearly see your team is losing from pressing tab, from looking at the feed on the right there. Like, that's not what you're going to do. So get a better sense for that, and the way to do that is you just go, hey, I'm going to press tab before I walk back into fights, and if it looks like we're losing, I'm going to wait a bit. Because if you go, oh, well, everyone's eliminated, so it doesn't matter, so I can just go in and get eliminated again too, well, no, because you're going to be eliminated later than the rest of your team was eliminated. And what if the rest of your team then goes, oh, well, my Junkrat's eliminated right now. I can just go get eliminated too because I'm going to wait and he'll have to match my timing. Like, you have to be the better player, the better Junkrat, whatever, the better teammate, and go, well, I'm going to wait and I'm going to join when my whole team is ready to join. Otherwise, you will keep staggering yourself into a loss on offense or defense. And once you get better at this, you'll understand how this evolves into ult timing, but we're not going to talk about ult timing specifically today. This sort of a leveled up version of this gets into ult timing, which you would have benefited from. If you go through the video, you'll see places I was talking about your ult timing, but it's not going to be as important as working on these 3 things. And I want you to work through these 3 things with 5 to 15% of your brain power while playing the game, while playing matches. I want you to think about specifically your combo, making sure you're doing your combo, not that you're just mining people when they're at full health when you're next to them. Like, 5 to 15% of your brain power until the times that you're not comboing are very intentional. Like, hey, I'm trying to escape because I'm in trouble, things like that. Or, hey, I saw that a fire strike hit them, so this should finish them, that kind of thing. So, like, work on these one at a time, maybe like 5 to 50 games with some level of focus on it. If you're like 3 games into working on your combos, forgetting what you're working on, or 5 games in, forgetting what you're working on, you're not using enough of your brain power on it. On the other hand, if it's like all you try to do and you hard focus on it, etc., and your gameplay significantly falls off in other places, that's going to be a problem too, because you're going to get some negative reinforcement around it. You're not going to want to do it, and you're going to play worse and get worse practice, etc. So don't do that either. Like, 5 to 15% of your brain power specifically working on the first thing. And then once the first thing is locked in and you can be like, yes, I get it. This is sort of part of my autopilot now. Not sort of. This is part of my autopilot now. I just do this automatically unless I manually override it with my brain. Then you move on and start working on the second thing, which is going to be, hey, making sure you're in these, playing from these flank places when available, in these closed spaces, and you go, hey, I'm going to control these, I'm going to operate from these. Those are going to help you out. Those are good when they're available. Then, once you've got that locked in, because you were using 5 to 15% of your brain power on it for enough games that it locked in, then you move on and start thinking about your engagement timing. You go, okay, now I'm specifically focused on my engagement timing with, maybe 10% of your brain power specifically thinking about your engagement timing, not between games, while you're playing the game. So that's what we're going to do. And you can think about it between games. That'll help. But while you're playing the game, like, hey, when should I be taking this fight? Wait, I'm coming back from having been eliminated. Is this a good fight for me to re-enter? And that's what you want to do. So work on these 3 things one at a time. That's your training plan. go do that. If you have questions, you can throw them up in chat now, or you can leave a comment. If you guys are enjoying the content, or if anyone else has questions, they're welcome to throw them up as well. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do hit that like button and feel free to subscribe, as that does help out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate that. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what my rates for coaching look like, see if we have any promos, special events, that sort of thing going on. Let's see. Is there anything else I want to catch up on chat here? A tire would have been good there. Why not just tire that? Yeah, everyone agrees. And I called out that tire or that lack of tire quite a bit there. And that ult got held for a long time. But again, not going to make the list. We've given you 3 specific things that are more important for you to work on. And you can do that really fast, the combo? Absolutely. The instant you hit your nade, you follow it up with the mine. And you can get right in their face to hit the nade, then mine. Like, you can walk at a lot of these heroes. Like that BAP, for example, you were fighting earlier, to just like, okay, I'm going to try and hit him with a nade. Missed, but I'm walking and I'm getting closer to him. Now I'm right in his face. So you've stuffed your weapon right into his chest effectively. And left click, mine. Boom. He's gone. When is the next review today? I don't know. I don't know when the next review today is going to be, Val. I'll probably do another one, but I think I need to go exercise a bit because I'm feeling a bit sluggish today. So it's probably not going to be right now. What do you think a Junkrat main should learn as their next hero? What do I think a Junkrat main should learn as their next hero? Let's pull up the Overwatch hero list. I'm assuming we want to keep this to damage. What does a Junkrat main want to learn as their next hero? Like, because it has the skills that'll evolve, because it fits in their hero pool in terms of things that they'd be expected to play in the future, because it gives them versatility to cover their weakness when Junkrat isn't a good pick. What's your angle here, James? What angle do you want me to explore this from? Because I'd usually explore this from a build out a flex DPS hero pool. Like, if you're playing Junkrat, you want to build out to be able to continue playing that role in case you want to play on a team in the future. And I'd go, okay, if you're playing Junkrat, you've established, and that's what you're working out from. You're working out from a flex DPS hero standpoint. So what are good flex DPS heroes to have in your pool? Well, here are a couple. There's, and then we get into, hey, Pharah's not a terrible one. May's not a terrible one. Okay, so these all start becoming interesting heroes. Sim's not a terrible one. And then we go, okay, well, what uses Junkrat's concepts, things that he has to understand in terms of, well, trap placement, well, similar concepts in what you understand with trap placement can go into turret placement in terms of they give you a wake-up call when people are coming down other routes. They set up good combos. Well, Sim looks like a pretty good one to use the skills that you have as Junkrat to go, hey, I can evolve and fit this in. And she also fits reasonably into a flex DPS's hero pool. Now, she gets played by hit scan players a lot too, but she fits reasonably there. So that could be a place to go. Hanzo understands area denial pretty well too, though. Like, Hanzo does some, hey, I'm not letting you through. I've got sonic arrows. This is area denial. I can do some not let you advance down hallway type stuff. So he can use some of the same skills, but he's going to be a more versatile hero than Junkrat is in terms of when and where he can be played and his strength in most metas. So he would make a lot of sense to go to as another one. If we're going at this from a what other heroes use his skill set, we can talk about things like Reaper. We can talk about things like Orisa. We could even talk about things like Zen in some ways. But these all make sense and can fit. We could talk about similarities between Junkrat Trap and Widow Mine, since we've already talked about some of that with Sonic Arrow and Sim Turrets. We could talk about Torb again from an understanding area denial standpoint. Yeah. May isn't a terribly hard transition, and May is in your appropriate hero pool, but I'd probably look at this and go one of these 2 directions, either towards Hanzo, though that's going to be, like, hey, you are going to have to do some aiming, you're going to have to do some work there, he's going to play differently, but you're going to use some of those skills to get a much more flexible hero into your hero pool, or you could go the Sim route, which, hey, you've added some flexibility, you can play Sim. But like I said, Sim frequently gets played by Hitscan these days. Okay. Um, Someone tried pinging you in the Overwatch forums, Temporal, or Lucia requesting a VOD review. Yeah, I saw it. I might get to it. I might not. It's open division. It's a 3K open division one. I may end up responding to it. I may not. I mean, it's not a paid request. There's no specific need for me to respond to it, but I may do it anyways. I would like a little bit more visibility still over there on those forums because I don't market in those forums nearly as heavily as I do in university, for example. I thought maybe Hanzo still projectile and cover some of his weaknesses. Yeah, which is ultimately where we went. A temporal exercise video. I would watch that. We'll watch that. Show us the correct form tempo to go at. Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to set things up quite a bit differently because I'd need to do that in a place where I can record adequately, and I'd either have to rearrange the room that I'm recording in, or I'd have to use different equipment. Fair and Hanzo, yeah. Random spam stuff and gets RNG value. Well, not quite. Hopefully, not quite with Hanzo. I know it feels that way, but we wanna teach them Hanzo correctly. Okay. May is so good for Ryan v Ryan. That's true. Sure, just making sure you saw and knew about it. Yep, and I absolutely appreciate that, Blah. Thank you. Okay. I don't see anything else there, so I think we're going to call it here. Again, if you're enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.